The Nintendo Switch isn't perfect. Weird first video for a Nintendo fan, I know, but hear me out. I was one of those guys who couldn't get the Switch at launch, so I had to get it over half a year later. I haven't played every heavy hitter on the console, but I've had just enough time to learn its ins and outs, and while the system is selling incredibly well, it has its flaws. I'm just gonna get this one out of the way as I know it's the one people don't like hearing about. The Switch simply lacks in power compared to the competition. While there are some games out there that do support 60 frames per second on the Switch, it isn't common at all. And let me address the people who say that the technical specifications of a game console does not determine the quality of its games by saying that I agree with you, partially. A true statement is that your game does not need to run at 60 FPS at 1080p to be a good game. A false statement is that a consistent, steady frame rate doesn't matter. Imagine the excitement you would feel after getting a copy of Monster Hunter World on the Nintendo Switch. Now imagine your excitement when you see this. My point is that while performance isn't everything, the Switch's lack of performance will limit third-party software that can come to it compared to its competition. Nintendo has had this issue since the Nintendo Wii, and fixing that issue doesn't seem to be on their list of priorities. Yes, it is a tablet, and yes, some of the ports are doing really well. It's actually surprising to see how much they've been pulling off, and maybe we will get to see a Monster Hunter World port that's playable. It's just too early to tell right now. Just don't be too surprised if the next big game to push the next-gen limits won't be on your favorite handheld. This issue has stood out since the very beginning. Why aren't there any media apps like Netflix and YouTube? Yeah, we have Hulu, but let's be honest. If Netflix and YouTube were on the Switch and Hulu wasn't, I don't think anyone would say a thing. I might actually be able to give you a reason as to why this Switch doesn't have any media applications. The Switch simply isn't ready for video playback. The PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One both allow you to have one video app suspended at the same time as one video game. I've been watching Season 1 of My Hero Academia on Hulu using the Switch, and that feature doesn't seem to be present. You can't stop in the middle of your game to watch a show and then come right back where you left off, or vice versa. It's one or the other in this case. This is most likely due to the performance of the tablet, as the Switch doesn't seem to be able to handle multitasking. This is a minor issue, but one that will make a difference. The one big issue is that the Switch is not connected to Wi-Fi on sleep mode unless you have something downloaded in the background. This means that if you take a quick bathroom break and then come back to pick up your Switch, you won't be able to wake it up and continue watching right away. You'll have to wait for your Switch to eventually connect to your Wi-Fi network and then go back to your video. Sometimes even then, you will have to restart the whole video. This is an issue that can be easily fixed with a software update by allowing the Switch to stay connected to Wi-Fi in sleep mode while internet-dependent applications such as Netflix and Hulu are still running. Until they get to fixing this issue, video playback on the Switch will just be impractical. It's a little silly that it's taken them this long to get video playback working. It's a console standard to have these things ready on day one. Speaking of things that should be ready on day one, why do we not have an online interface on the Nintendo Switch? For years, it seems that Nintendo has been struggling to make an online interface that actually makes sense. In the modern age of online gaming, this is unacceptable. Imagine if the PS5 came out and it didn't support PlayStation Network until the second half of its second year. It's simply ridiculous that they've taken this long to come up with something that actually works. We will be getting an online interface in the fall, but this is something that we should have gotten on day one. They better get it right if they're making us wait this long for it. On the topic of online, almost every platform since the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 has supported some sort of achievement platform, except for anything that has Nintendo in the title. This is something that needs to be addressed, Nintendo. It shouldn't be this hard. Please do not be innovative with this one. These are all the things that I consider to be seriously wrong with the Switch. While it would be cool to see Virtual Console head to the Switch pretty soon, I can wait if it means having these issues addressed. Let me know what you guys think. I want to say one more thing though. Even though the Nintendo Switch is not perfect by any means, and even though it has all of these issues, it is still my favorite game console since the Nintendo GameCube. Gotta hand it to them. This is Crimcat, and thank you for watching my first video.